Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Sunday, January 18th. Ian Cameron with you solo on this edition of the show, ready to break down the Sunday slate. 3 games on tap. With it being a short card, Alex decided to let the leg rest today, so he's off today. He'll be back with us tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time for our holiday edition of the show. It's a Martin Luther King Day, of course, in the U.S. tomorrow, but we will be here at 2 p.m. Eastern, the usual time to break down the Monday NHL slate. Obviously, we got 3 games today, but we will also talk about the first game of the Monday slate because it starts at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. It is a early start game for television purposes. Believe that game is part of a TNT doubleheader. So we'll talk the 3 games today, but we'll also talk Buffalo, Carolina, the early Monday game at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. So we'll talk about that on today's show, all as well. We'll look back on last night, and I have no problem looking back at last night as far as the NHL card is concerned, because it was a spectacular night. And it was a spectacular night for not just me, for Alex too. I mean, it was just a tremendous night as far as results go. A lot of the things we bet ended up hitting for us. I guess the only thing I was missing was a bargain bin winner. We did not hit either of our bargain bin choices from the Columbus Blue Jackets yesterday, but nevertheless, it was just a terrific Saturday, big profits. I'm pretty sure after last night, for those of you that are a Dub Club subscriber of mine, and a lot of you are, I believe now after last night, we've hit the 40-unit mark in the NHL this year. That's right, 40 units of profit for yours truly in the NHL this season. For those of you that are a Dub Club member and a Dub Club subscriber of my sports betting service, daily, every wager, every sport, every day gets deployed and sent out to the Dub Club members and subscribers. We even throw in a few live bets for them as well. But NHL plus 40 units of profit. It's been absolutely spectacular NHL season, and it was a great night last night. Very, very pleased with it. And some entertaining hockey as well. Started early in the day where we hit the over and we hit the draw. What a start to the day. Maybe I should have known. Maybe that's the waste. Sometimes when I think the day starts that well, it goes downhill and it goes south after that. Maybe that was an omen that it was going to be a really good Saturday. But we had the over. We had the draw at a very good price in that Minnesota Buffalo game. And you look at it, 5-4 overtime win for the Minnesota Wild in that game. It was a very, very solid victory for Minnesota, considering their whole second line was out in that game, and they were able to overcome it and get the victory against obviously a red-hot Buffalo Sabres team and rally back to do it as well. Multiple times Minnesota took the lead and Buffalo responded, but the Minnesota Wild got a power play opportunity in overtime, and Matt Zuccarello ended up getting the overtime winner for the Minnesota Wild to beat the Buffalo Sabres. They're 5-4 in overtime. A pretty good bounce back considering they were a little shorthanded and considering how bad the loss for Minnesota was against Winnipeg in their previous game. The New York Rangers and Philadelphia Flyers, we were on the air when this game started, and the goals were flying in left and right. I only had a small piece of the over in this game, but in retrospect, maybe wish you had a little bit more. The woes continue defensively for the Flyers. Without Dan Vladar, this team, I don't know if this team's got any hope to get a decent performance from any goaltender without Dan Vladar. I mean, it's been pretty rough for the Sam Ersson, and obviously, don't put it off, fade Kolosov. Didn't take long for Kolosov to get yanked in this game. 3 shots without stopping a single puck, and he is yanked from the game after giving up 3 goals in the opening period. So just terrible goaltending, really, from Philadelphia again. Bad defensive play. Spencer Martin was actually not bad. He gave up 3 goals. I still don't trust him long term, but obviously he was better than anything Philly had in net, and it ended up being a 6-3 victory for the New York Rangers. And the New York Rangers continue to show that if they're going to win games, it's going to be on the road. It's not going to be at Madison Square Garden. They get a 6-3 win there. Calgary, nice win. Off a long road trip. I thought it was going to be a tough spot for them. This is one of the few games that didn't go our way. We had the Islanders here, but give Calgary credit. Really good performance. I don't think David Riddick was great. I think that was that's big Civ Dave came out to play yesterday for the New York Islanders. But to give Calgary credit, that was a bad spot. That was a tough spot coming off a long road trip, and they were still able to get the job done. 4-2 win over the New York Islanders. Utah, that was a brutal scheduling spot for Seattle. I didn't love the value with Utah at minus 200, but I certainly think Utah was probably the only side you could bet. It was a really challenging spot. You were on the road out east. Now you're playing in Utah, 2 time zones over. I think it was third game in 4 nights for the Kraken as well. And Utah ended up getting a nice 6-3 win. Jackson Dart, I keep forgetting Jackson Dart is initially from Utah, he was in attendance for this game, cheering on his hometown team. He was there for the Seattle and Utah game. Of course, Jackson Dart, quarterback of the New York Giants, for those of you that may not know who I'm talking about. And speaking of football yesterday, the Buffalo-Denver game, outstanding. And yes, refereeing in that game, little to be desired, especially if you're a Bills fan. But we'll save that for football shows. It's a hockey show. But the football game, at least that one, was very, very entertaining yesterday. But nevertheless, Utah 6-3 over Seattle. Yeah, the Sergachev over 1.5 shots on goal. What is that now? 20 of 21 home games? It's pretty crazy. 20 of 21 home games where Mikhail Sergachev over 1.5 shots on goal has cashed in. Florida Panthers, nice bounce back win, 5-2 against Washington. Very, very solid performance from the Panthers off the debacle, 9-1 the previous night against Carolina. I thought Tarasov was very solid, very good in net for the Panthers. They certainly were opportunistic. How about Uvis Balinskis? Bobby Orr in the making here. I'm kidding, of course, but back-to-back games now with a goal for the Florida Panthers on the blue line for them. They put it away with a pair of empty netters and a 5-2 victory there for the Florida Panthers in that game. It'll be interesting to see if the Panthers can get on a run because, look, they've played pretty well, since the early part of December. But they've had a couple of losses recently, and because it seems like nobody else in the Atlantic Division wants to go on an extended losing streak, and nobody is. Boston's winning, Montreal's winning, Toronto's winning. It's been difficult for the Panthers to gain ground, and it's been difficult for a lot of these teams in this Atlantic Division to gain ground right now. But Florida gets a 5-2 win there against Washington. Great game with Montreal and Ottawa, 6-5 win in overtime for the Montreal Canadiens. Really, really liked the over in this game quite a bit, and no sweat whatsoever. 6-5 Montreal. This was one of the stronger bets. In fact, this is probably what I would have went with if I had a total for a bet. Well, I did have a team total for a best bet I had, but this was close to being best bet material for the show. Montreal 6-5 win. Look, regarding the Levi Merrillainen stuff, he was not good. Like, when you're giving up 6 goals on 19 shots, that's horrific. Okay, 684 save percentage in the game, that's terrible. That's not NHL caliber goaltending. And he's obviously had his ups and he's had his downs, and it's been, look, he's playing more games than he ever thought in his wildest dreams that he'd ever imagined playing this season in the NHL. So you have to have some level of sympathy, but at the better end of the day, he's got to be better than that. And while Cole Caulfield is a dynamic scorer, he's been lethal in overtime. He's had a ton of overtime game-winning goals already. You got to make that save. I know he shoots the puck hard, but when you get a piece of it, you got to keep it out. And he got a piece of it, and it went past him. So it was a very, very rough night for him. But if you're Jake Sanderson, who comes out after the game and says, yeah, he made some saves, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to make more than 10 saves to win a hockey game. If you're coming out and saying that, that's not right. You got to keep that in-house. You cannot directly toss a teammate under the bus like that. That ain't right. That ain't right. And I remember Kelly Rudy talking about this on the Hockey Day in Canada panel last night, saying, if someone did that to me, said that about me when I was with the Kings, I'd be on the phone with my agent and we'd be talking to the GM and we'd be trying to figure out, hey, what the hell's going on here? So, that's just one of those situations where, yeah, okay, if you're Jake Sanderson, I think the sentiment, I get it. I agree with his thought that the goalie's got to be better, but you don't say it. You don't say it to the media. You don't say it publicly like that. That's still a teammate after all. That's still someone in the organization that you're supposed to be going to battle with. So that's a bit of a bad look there for Ottawa. And even Travis Green's guilty of this. Even Travis Green kind of threw Levi Merrilainen under the bus. He did say he felt bad for him, but his quote wasn't all that great, saying, he had a really rough night, and Travis Green, same thing. So it leads you to believe that's the coach saying something about him. That's Jake Sanderson saying something about him. Is this guy lazy? Is he not working hard to try to get better? Is he not practicing to the full extent to try to work on his game? Who the hell knows? Maybe that's what's driving them nuts. And then when they see him, play like that, and he's not putting in the time and the effort and the work and the to get better. Maybe that, I don't know if that's the case, but I'm just, pontificating here. But at the end of the day, something is causing them to react that way. I mean, to lash out like that about a teammate, you never see that. I mean, I don't know if I've seen someone that vociferous about their goaltender, other than maybe Tortorella years and years and years and years ago when he coached Tampa Bay and he was pissed with John Graham, one of his goalies back then. But, like I said, it was just you cannot make that a public comment, in my opinion. But yeah, goaltending issue until they get Allmark back, there's going to be goaltending issues for Ottawa. And even Allmark wasn't lighting things up. It wasn't playing at his absolute best form either. It was a lot of overtime hockey. That game went to overtime in the 7:00 Eastern window. Toronto-Winnipeg went to overtime. This was a great hockey game. This pace was crazy in this game. 4-3 Leafs. We cashed the over 5.5. That's now 8 straight Jets games, 6+ goals. It's just the gift that keeps on giving. This Winnipeg overrun comes through once again. What a great hockey game this was, and what a great win for the Toronto Maple Leafs to really put a capper on a solid road trip. The caller, think about it, and they could have beat Vegas. They should have beat Vegas. They could have went 3-1 on this road trip. They beat Colorado. They probably should have beat Vegas, but they did get a point in that game. And, of course, they finish it with a 4-3 win against Winnipeg. And the only loss was that brutal spot against Utah on the back-to-back. So great road trip for the Leafs. Max Domi, the overtime winner. I thought Oliver Ekman-Larsson, lost him, toss him, played a great game on the blue line for the Leafs. And they get a 4-3 win over Winnipeg in overtime and snap Winnipeg's win streak. No question. But another blown lead to the Toronto Maple Leafs to end Winnipeg's current win streak. And Rick Bowness remains undefeated. This was a very entertaining game. 4-3 shootout win for the Blue Jackets. Wasn't easy, but Columbus was able to get the job done. It was a very solid effort top to bottom. I thought for, the first period they were a little sluggish. I thought they played a great second period. And that's really where the game turned around for them as they got the only 2 goals in the second period. And then in the third period, it was a lower event game than we're used to seeing. And this is what Rick Bowness wants. He wants to see this team protect a lead and be solid, be sound defensively in their own zone. And they were for about 19 minutes, but Sidney Crosby did tie the game with about a minute left to make it 3-3, and it was a great goal. There's not really much any Columbus could have done there, but I thought they defended very well for 19 minutes. Kind of heartbreaking they had to go to overtime, considering how well they played as a team defensively in the third period. But overtime came, no goals, and they ended up getting the shootout win with Charlie Coyle scored, but unfortunately it was a shootout game-winning goal. It doesn't count for a bargain bin, but Charlie Coyle with the shootout winner, and the Jackets 3-0 now under Rick Bowness, and you can definitely see it's a different energy. It's a different spirit now with this team. They're just bouncing now, this Jackets team. They have got great confidence again. They're playing the right way. I've never seen the Blue Jacket defense this year play as hard, as tenacious as they have in these first 3 games with Rick Bowness. They never played like this defensively under Evason. I watched. It was gaffes galore. It was loose coverage galore. Not seeing that. You're seeing a 5-man defensive unit swarm the puck now. And that is definitely something that we didn't see often early on. And let's give Elvis Merzlikins credit, because clearly him and the coach, Dean Evason, didn't see eye to eye. And I get it. He became the forgotten man under Dean Evason. He wasn't even playing at all. But Rick Bowness sees something in Elvis, says, you know what, we got to get him in there. We still think he's a talented goalie. And here's Elvis Merzlikins now in the 2 starts that he's made against Vancouver and Pittsburgh. That's about as good as he's played all year. And we've watched a lot of Elvis Merzlikins in this net for Columbus this year. And I can tell you right now, You'd be hard-pressed to find better performances from him than the last two games. As far as Columbus is concerned, he was great last night. Like when that game was 3-2 in the third, he had to make a couple of big saves there, and he did. And when the shootout, he was good. It's funny about Merzlikins. He's actually very good in shootouts. It's hard to believe because he's been so disappointing and so below average in his career, just in regular regulation hockey, overtime hockey. But you get him in a shootout, it's Bernie Perron all of a sudden, or Grant Fuhrer, Marty Brodeur, name any great goalie you want. But, yeah, he's been very good in shootouts, and he showed it once again last night for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Nice win for the Jackets. That was a great game for Alex. I think he hit Columbus. He hit the draw. He hit Columbus to win in overtime or a shootout at like plus 500 or whatever it was. I mean, just Alex cleaned up on that game. It was a good game for me too. I had overdrawn, of course, Columbus money line and team total over split. So that was a great game for me too. That was a big catalyst for the night. What else did we see? Carolina on a back-to-back after thumping Florida. Nice road win, 4-1 against New Jersey in that game. I must say this was a step forward for Freddie Anderson. Okay, he faced 30 shots last night. It's not like he only faced 10, 15, 20 shots. He faced 30, and he only gave up one goal. That is definitely a confidence booster for Freddie Anderson. We'll give him credit for that. It's been obviously we've talked about it a ton. It's been a rough season for him. But that was a much-needed, real solid, steady performance in net. And Carolina gets a 4-1 win there against the New Jersey Devils. You got to give him a break for one night, Robert. I think he still sucks, too. I mean, I'm not ready to say he's all the way back yet. New Jersey's having some issues right now. But you got to give him a little bit of credit for that win last night. Boston, 5-2 against Chicago. Blackhawks, great night honoring the greats of the past. But after a great first period, Chicago was up 2-0. That was all she wrote. 5 unanswered goals for the Bruins, and they get a 5-2 win in that game over the Blackhawks. Alex mentioned it yesterday. Arvid Soderblom, don't trust him, and he gives up 5 goals on 23 shots, which shows you right there why we didn't trust him. But Boston with a 5-2 win there against Chicago. Edmonton with the team total over 3.5, best bet cashing in here. Edmonton 6-0. It's funny as they didn't score in the first period, and Nikita Tolopilo was doing pretty solid early, but then the floodgates opened for Edmonton. Roslovic, Hyman on the power play, Kapanen, and then 3 goals in 2 minutes and 3 seconds. But Roslovic gets a second, Kapanen gets a second, and Vasily Podkolzin to make it 6-0. And that was all she wrote. We ended up getting the team total over there, 3.5 with Edmonton as the best bet for the show. And the Oilers cruised to victory, 6-0 against the hapless, and they are hapless, this Vancouver Canucks team. They are making a very strong case right now for being the worst team in the National Hockey League, this Vancouver team. I mean, there's nothing to like. They're not scoring now. They're not defending. The goaltending is just not consistent enough, not quality enough night to night. And like I said, and of course, doesn't help either that Thatcher Demko's injured for the millionth time. But nevertheless, like I said, tough times. Tough times for our guy, Rich H. In Vancouver and many of the Canucks fans right now. Here's another one where Vegas, they're down 1-0 after the first period. Kind of pissed me off because I had first period over in this game, and that didn't fall through. And then the floodgates opened after that. 7 goals in the last 2 periods, 7-2 Vegas over the Nashville Predators. The roof caved in on our guy, Justus Onanen, who became useless again last night. 7 goals on 36 shots. And useless Onanen, not a good night. And Vegas rolls 7-2 against the Nashville Predators. And Vegas, man, they are heating up now. This has been an extended win streak, 7 in a row now for the Vegas Golden Knights. And this offense is lethal. This is another team where, other than one game against LA, they've scored at least 4 in every win during this 7-game win streak. So the offense is heating up right now for this Vegas Golden Knights team. And you see last night it was Dorofeyev, it was Marner, it was Stone. Theodore scores from the back end. Kolasar, all of a sudden Kolasar's chipping in some goals for them. Various sources helping them out offensively, making Vegas at the moment a dangerous team, obviously, when you see that happen. And then, of course, the last game of the night, It seems like we watch this same game over and over again for the LA Kings. Have a chance. You're in the game, tight game, anyone's game, late. Have a chance to win, and you lose. That's the LA Kings right now. Another game. What's there? There's 2 points for the taking. It's right there for you. It's in the palm of your hands, and you can't grab it. That's the LA Kings right now. Game in and game out. It's the same old song and dance with this team. Find a way to lose, and they did so once again, dropping their second straight to the Anaheim Ducks in as many nights. 2-1 Anaheim in overtime last night. Michael Granlund, the game-winning goal in overtime, but Anaheim deserved the win. 33-18 were the shots on goal. They pretty much outplayed the Kings in every period. It was actually a pretty solid effort from Forsberg, all things considered. Gave them a chance. Got a point out of the game because of Anton Forsberg, but like I said, great, another good win for Anaheim. And now I start to wonder if Anaheim's one of these teams we start to ride again, because now 9-game losing streak and now back-to-back wins. And they're doing it without some key pieces, too. Let's not forget this team's still missing, several key contributors, Leo Carlson among others, and able to get a real nice win last night against LA 2-1, outplayed the Kings there in that game. So nice win. And yes, indeed, we got to give Seneca, Beckett Seneca, a lot of praise for setting up that game-winning goal. Stripped the puck, took it away from Kevin Fiala, and then back it went the other way there for the Granlund goal to make it 2-1 in favor of the Anaheim Ducks. So a great Saturday, very profitable Saturday. And I wish I could say we've got the Sunday card to keep the momentum going, but no, this Sunday card's not that great, at least not from a betting standpoint. In my opinion, it was hard pressed to find stuff we loved. We're still going to dabble a little bit, small units, small wagers today with the 3 games that are on the board, but nothing close to the quality of betting opportunities we saw yesterday on the big Saturday slate. That being said, we do have a pretty good game to start the card as far as viewing is concerned. We got Tampa Bay and Dallas. Lightning -120 road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. These are two, Dallas is slumping right now. There's no question. They're really having a tough time at the moment. The Dallas Stars losing, of course, to the Utah Mammoth 2-1. Anaheim before that 3-1. This team is 2-8 in their last 10 games. And Anaheim and Tampa Bay, all of a sudden, they have their obviously win streak snapped by the St. Louis Blues 3-2 in a shootout in their last game. We'll see if they can bounce back from that defeat here tonight, this afternoon, rather, against Dallas. It's been pretty puzzling that Dallas in these last 2 losses only able to score 1 goal in each of those games. So we will see if they are able to bounce back here in this one. It's going to be Ottinger for Dallas, and it looks like it should be Vasilevsky. I wouldn't expect anything different here. Still no change in the injury report for Tampa. Hedman, Lilleberg, McDonough, Three Stooges, not the Three Stooges. They deserve a little more respect than that. But yeah, 3 defensemen out for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and of course Braden Point still on IR for the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. We've got both of these teams, I think, hungry for a victory going into this matchup. We'll see if both of them are going to be able to get out of the gate strong here in this game. I do like the draw. I do think this is a game where the draw is a worthy bet. You got Tampa Bay that have gone to overtime, or actually have gone to a shootout in 2 straight games. You look at Dallas, and they played a lot of 1-goal games. They played a 1-goal game against Utah. They played a 1-goal game against San Jose. The LA game was a 1-goal game until an empty netter late to make it 3-1 in that game. The Dallas-Anaheim game was a 1-goal game late until Trouba's empty netter to put it away and make it 3-1. So you look at it in Tampa again, back-to-back games past regulation and series history. I shouldn't say both meetings last year, but the last 2 meetings, one of them was last year and one of them was the earlier meeting in Tampa this year. But the last 2 meetings, Lightning versus Stars, have gone past regulation. It's actually a 6-3-1 run to the under in this series in the last 10 games. And, Tampa finally sees a couple of games here where they have trouble finding the back of the net. Dallas isn't scoring right now. Now, you could look at it this way. We play the current form and we play the under, or no, wait a minute. These 2 teams are better offensively than that. Dallas is better offensively than they've shown the last 2 games. Tampa, This is a team that prior to the loss against St. Louis and the win against Pittsburgh, this is a team that was scoring 4 goals every game. So it depends on which side of the fence you're on. I don't know what side of the fence I'm on with that. So I'm not really interested in the total all that much. What I would tell you is if with the total being 5.5 in some spots, automatically I lean over anytime I see a 5.5. So I would lean that way, but I can't say I love this over by any stretch of the imagination this afternoon. What I would tell you too is that since the beginning of the new year, 5.5 totals, when it's been line 5.5, the overs have been hitting at a ridiculous clip. So beware is all I'm saying if you like under with the total being 5.5. But I like the draw more than anything here with Lightning and Stars. I think there's decent potential here that we see this game go beyond 60 minutes. As far as props go for this game this afternoon, there's a couple that I'm interested in here. When you look at the lineups for Dallas, Sam Steele, there's value on the top line with Johnston and Rantanen on that unit for the Dallas Stars. He's definitely the one that I've got some interest in. Gage Gonsalves, we've talked about him. Nick Paul to me is worth a look. Nick Paul might be with Kucherov and Gensel. That's kind of where he's been here for the last little bit with John Cooper. So, this could definitely be a situation where, Nick Paul's able to find the back of the net. Yeah, that's the thing, too. Sunday's low scoring. That's true, Robert. We talked about it, how these games on Sundays, these afternoon games especially, and really any game before 8 p.m. Eastern, they've really been trending under. That is something to keep in mind. Although I think we did have a game or two last Sunday afternoon that did go over, but nevertheless, long term, it's been unders in these Sunday day games. So we'll see if that continues here in this one. All right, the next game, Ottawa Detroit. This is an afternoon. This is a late afternoon game in the Motor City. We've got Detroit minus 125 home favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game. I believe this could be the Ottawa Senators' debut of James Reimer this afternoon here in Detroit for the Sens. Of course, this is a guy that they've signed out of, honestly, I think it's out of desperation because of the, Linus Ullmark. And what is going on with Linus Ullmark? Like, he's skating, he's with the team again. So, he's clearly close to a return, but from all indications, this is not going to be like necessarily 2 days from now or even a week from now that he's back and he's ready to start. I still think it's sounding like he's going to need at least still a little bit more time to ramp up before he's finally ready, to be in net again for the Ottawa Senators. So your options right now are Levi Merilainen, who obviously isn't going to – there's no chance he's playing this afternoon on a back-to-back after him getting shelled last night and then just absolutely excoriated by his teammate, Jake Sanderson, after the game. But I would think it's going to be James Reimer. It sure looks that way, that he's going to be in net here for Ottawa. Now, we talked about this when it looked like Reimer might start earlier this week. We talked about how first game with him in net, you could see this team absolutely just dig in defensively and want to win this for him. He's the veteran goalie. He's well-liked. He's a good personality. And you could see Ottawa just really going above and beyond defensively, blocking shots, boxing out, doing all of that stuff to aid James Reimer in his first start. That could be the case for sure. But then that other element of me is looking at the fact that James Reimer in a conditioning stint with Belleville last Sunday, played for the Belleville Senators against Rochester. He gave up 6 goals on 28 shots. That ain't good. So what's it going to be here? Is it going to be James Reimer's able to just flip the switch, play well, play steady? I know I've seen instances where he joins a team and he looks pretty good, in that first start. But I do, there is that conditioning stint for Belleville where he gave up 6 goals last week. Sometimes, though, you have to take those performances in the conditioning stint down in the American Hockey League, though, with a grain of salt. You do, because, you're just trying to get your feet under you. You're just trying to feel the puck a little bit. You're just trying to, have a little bit of success. You're not success, but you're just trying to get comfortable. You're just trying to get some a game under your belt. It's more about the process than the result. Is what I'm trying to say. So maybe you don't overreact to James Reimer giving up 6 goals for Belleville last week. He could still come in here and play well. Maybe the team's going to just dig in that extra little effort, go that extra mile defensively for him. We'll see if that's the case. We got Detroit, meanwhile, coming off a victory against the San Jose Sharks. Yeah, it was San Jose. 4-2 on Friday night. They bounced back nicely from the 3-0 shutout loss to the Boston Bruins. This team has won 5 of their last 6 games. We'll see if they can carry that over here to this game. They beat Ottawa 5-3 earlier this month in Ottawa. That was a game where Merrilainen was in net. Another Merrilainen masterpiece, or not, I should say. But Gibson was in net. He was great. Ottawa played Detroit, and Detroit, it seemed like every great chance they got went in. It was a rough night for and Merrilainen got pulled, and Hunter Shepard finished that game. I remember it. But Detroit beat Ottawa 5-3 there in that game. We'll see if they can hand Ottawa another defeat here in this game on Sunday afternoon. This is a tricky game. I'm just waiting on the confirmation. If it's Reimer, I don't know how to feel about it because Reimer, again, had that rough conditioning stint start. I don't want to overreact that. Ottawa coming off the loss yesterday where they blew the lead to Montreal. They'll be hungry and they'll be looking to bounce back, but it is back-to-back. It is a rest advantage here for the Detroit Red Wings. So I'm waiting on the goalie confirmations. If it's anyone but Reimer, I'd be looking at a Detroit team total over or the full game over. If it is Reimer, I kind of pump the brakes a little bit on that. So, like I said, and that's true about the long layoffs that Jonathan mentions. Blackwood, not good. Aiden Hill, not good. We just saw it the last few days. Aiden Hill, not good early against Toronto. Reimer, not good early. Give me first period over if Reimer's in. That makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, I'll probably wait for a 5.5. That's what I'm going to do. My plan of attack here is going to be wait for a live over if I can, or at least get this at a little bit better price early in the first period with the full game over. But the first period over makes sense. And if it is Reimer, I'm okay with the first period over because of what we have seen from these goaltenders that have been out for a long period of time, that haven't started very much, that have looked a little shaky in their first game, like Blackwood did returning from injury for Colorado against Nashville, like Aiden Hill did returning from injury for Vegas against Toronto. So this is definitely some form of over by Fecteline for me. I'll get involved with it. I like the first period over. I'll probably have more on the first period over than the full game over, given that you probably want the goals early in this particular game simply because of the potential rust we might see if indeed James Reimer is in between the pipes. Not to mention Ottawa has been a pretty strong first period over team of late. If you go look at our friend Chris Otto and his totals charts, you'll see that as far as first period overs are concerned, the Ottawa Senators have been pretty strong. Yeah, 8 straight it was going into yesterday, and of course it's 12-1 now to the first period over for Ottawa in their last 13 games. So yeah, that's the move to me. First period over, Ottawa Detroit here. In this game. 12 out of the last 13 Ottawa Senators games have cashed the first period over. So, yeah, that's what I'll go with. That's the primary bet for me here in this game. As far as props go, there are a few that stand out. I mean, we talked about Jake Sanderson. He scored again last night. That's 2 straight games with a goal, plus 600. I might sprinkle on that again. Dylan Cousins for Ottawa. He's found the back of the net in 2 straight. David Perron has found the net, back of the net. In 2 straight games for the Ottawa Senators as well. So we got a couple of players here that have been starting to get a little multi-game goal streak going for this Sens team. For Detroit, as far as props, JVR with Larkin and Raymond, that's good value, and we know he's been chipping in a little bit lately for this Detroit Red Wings team, no question about that. That is definitely a player to target, at least for me in this game. Andrew Kopp, too. Andrew Kopp's got 3 goals in the last 6 games for the Detroit Red Wings. He's been starting to become a bit of a difference maker offensively, centering that second line for the Detroit Red Wings. So there's a couple of things to keep an eye. Yeah, Perron used to be with Detroit for a bit, so the former player angles involved there as well. All right, St. Louis, Edmonton. This is the one-night game here, 8 p.m. Eastern for this Sunday slate. Edmonton minus 150 home favorites, 6.5 the total now. We've seen some movement on this total. I think it's because Jordan Binnington's in net, which I don't know if I was necessarily expecting that with how well Joe Hofer's looked the last couple games for the St. Louis Blues. But Jordan Binnington is in net for the Blues here in this game. We'll see. I mean, that's it's unfortunate because I kind of thought the Blues were live in this spot tonight because there's a damning piece of evidence that I'm going to give you for Edmonton. I will get into it in a moment, but I'll just their record on the second night of back-to-backs this year. It's not just bad; it's atrocious. Edmonton, and they're coming off the 6-0 win against Vancouver last night. Remember, they still have no Leon Draisaitl, and typical of NHL and NBA games where the first game without one of your best players, everybody raises their game and you get the job done. It happens time and time again in both leagues. You lose that top player, one of your best players, and in that first game without him, you all raise your level. And it's the second game where there's that decline, there's that letdown when that happens. So maybe tonight's going to be that night here for Edmonton, and it is a back-to-back situation for them. Blues are playing a little bit better, but again, now you got to deal with Binnington in net, and he is he's having a Forrest Gump season. Box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, and unfortunately, more often than not, like I said, it's been rough for him this season. Connor Ingram for Edmonton. Great news for St. Louis. Great news for me because he's become one of my favorite players in the league with all the bargain bin hits and all the bargain bin special winners and the goal prop winners that we've had with him since joining the Blues. Holloway, Dylan Holloway, man, he is back at long last. He's been out for a long period of time. If you bet on Holloway, take some time to celebrate. It could be so nice. Dylan Holloway, back from the injured list, back from off the IR with that ankle injury. And what a time to have him back in Edmonton against his former team. Like I said, that you got to bet Dylan Holloway tonight. I mean, you just do. There's no debate. There's no got to think about it. No, you just got to take Dylan Holloway here tonight. Now, I don't always like betting on players to score in their first game back off a long absence, but like I said, this is just what they need. They need a little spark offensively, and they're going to hope that Dylan Holloway can provide that here for the St. Louis Blues here against the Oilers, his former team. So great to see him back for Edmonton, or St. Louis rather, especially for a team that's had some injuries, key injuries too, like without Robert Thomas hurts. They've been without Pius Suter for a while. So they've had some key injuries. So to be able to get Holloway back, be able to put him in the lineup, couldn't come a moment too soon for the St. Louis Blues here tonight. Looks like they got him on the second line with Dalibor, Dvorsky, and Jordan Kyrou. Again, tentative second line, but we'll see how this plays out. But Binnington, I definitely thought it was going to be Hofer, but Binnington in net. We'll see how that goes. St. Louis did beat Edmonton earlier this year in St. Louis 3-2. This has been a very close and hotly contested series. We've seen a lot of one-goal games. In fact, 5 of the last 6 meetings, Blues and Oilers, decided by 1 goal. This is dog and draw for me. I know it's Binnington in net, but it's St. Louis now. Put in some better performances together, playing better defensive hockey. Maybe Hofer was part of that. Was it better defensive hockey, or was it just great goaltending too? That's the thing, because he did still face over 30 shots in the 2 victories against Carolina and Tampa Bay, Joel Hofer. But I like this spot. I think it's a little bit of an emotional, hangover spot for Edmonton. Everybody, dealing with the unfortunate family matter for Leon Draisaitl that's taken him away from the team for at least a little bit. They all rallied around it yesterday. Now this is where you could suffer. And there's no denying how bad the Edmonton Oilers have been this season on the second night of back-to-back games. How bad? How about 1-7 bad? 1-7, the Edmonton Oilers on the second night of back-to-back games this season. 1-7 for this Oilers team on the second night of back-to-back games. That's an atrocious track record as far as these back-to-back spots are concerned. And even though we got our concerns about Binnington in that, let's not act like Connor Ingram is Dwayne Rollis in 2006. Let's not act like Connor Ingram is Grant Fuhrer in his prime. Okay, so like I said, that is 1 win and 7 losses is what I'm saying for Edmonton on the second night of back-to-back games this year. Not good. So I already bet St. Louis overnight like this. I already took the Blues. I thought it was going to be Hofer. It's not. It's Binnington. I still think they can win this hockey game. I do. I think this is where you see it without Leon Draisaitl, that, on the back-to-back. And they've been a bad back-to-back team, Edmonton. They just have. They've been awful. So, yeah, give me St. Louis here, plus 130 on the money line. St. Louis team total over. I'll split it with that as well because their team total is minus over 2.5, minus 140. I think I might look toward. I don't know about the full game totals because the Blues have been talking defense, defense, defense. Okay, they've been talking about it. They've been emphasizing it all week, and they've followed through on it with their wins against Tampa and Carolina. They dug in defensively, and we saw what happened. They shut out Carolina, and they only gave up 2 goals to Tampa and won that game. You know, they are doing it. They have been just adamant about saying we've got to play good, tight 5-man unit structure right now to win hockey games. So I'm not bullish on these overs because of that going into this game. So like I said, I'm just going to go with the Blues here and the team total split. And I think I might dabble in the draw just because we've seen so many 1-goal games between these two teams. Like I said, 5 of the last 6 meetings here between the Blues and the Oilers have been decided by 1 goal, and 3 of those 6 games have gone past regulation. So I do think the draw could be in play here with St. Louis and Edmonton. As far as goal props are concerned here, obviously Holloway's a no-brainer. We got to take him. How about Nick Bjugstad? This guy's back in the lineup. He scored back-to-back games for the Blues. Nick Bjugstad, Nick Ballstad, as Don Cherry would say. Plus 650, why not? Why not? And we got to go back to the well with Vasily Podkolzin. I would even say Kapanen as well. Podkolzin and Kapanen with no Draisaitl. They're going to be shooting the puck a lot more. And we saw what Vasily Podkolzin, and yeah, that's a former team angle too with Bjugstad. Bjugstad played for Edmonton for a bit. So, yeah, Bjugstad's been good since returning for the St. Louis Blues. So I'll go that direction with him. We'll also look toward Podkolzin. He's playing with McDavid and Hyman right now, it looks like, after Leon, with Leon's absence here. Trent Frederick is now with Kapanen and Nugent Hopkins. I don't know if I've got the guts to trust Trent Frederick to score a goal. But it is worth noting, Trent Frederick, and someone pointed this out in the chat, he is a St. Louis guy. So he's playing against a team that obviously probably watched quite a bit growing up. So we'll see if that means he's able to find the back of the net here for the Edmonton Oilers tonight. And again, he is on the second line. He is on the second line for this Edmonton Oilers team, even though he's not had any sort of good offensive season. So it's actually not a little bad prop game here for the Blues and the Oilers. There's some good options here. And Frederick does have 3 goals in 6 games against Jordan Binnington. So there you go. And Jonathan uses those player versus goalie stats for a lot of his goal props. So that speaks to the fact that Frederick has had success scoring on Jordan Binnington in the past. We'll see if that carries over to tonight. All right. I was about to say we're done. We're not done. We have one game to talk about on Monday, and we're going to do it now because it starts before we get on the air tomorrow. Buffalo, Carolina. This game is at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday afternoon, Martin Luther King Day in the U.S. We've got Carolina minus 200, home favorites. The total here sitting at 6.5, shaded to the over here in this game. Very good weekend for the Carolina Hurricanes. Back-to-back wins, 9-1 against Florida. 9-1 against Florida on Friday night, 4-1 last night against New Jersey. So 13-2, outscoring the opposition. This Carolina Hurricanes team in the last 2 games. They will welcome in a Buffalo Sabres team coming off a tough loss yesterday afternoon against the Minnesota Wild, losing 5-2 in overtime. We'll see we'll get the lay of the land, obviously, tomorrow, a little bit closer to puck drop. With no firm stance right now on this game this early. Right now, the projections are Luukkonen and Bussy for the goaltenders. One thing to point out, too, with the Buffalo Sabres is, as great as they've been offensively, they've kind of taken a step back defensively in some of these recent games. One thing about Buffalo during this terrific run, 15-3 in their last 18 games, a lot of it, they were playing some pretty good defensive hockey. A lot of it, they were getting some excellent goaltending. But you start to look at some of these recent games, 4 given up to Florida in the loss, 5-3 when they beat Montreal. I thought they gave up a lot of good looks in that game. And then, of course, they give up the 5 spot Saturday in the loss to the Minnesota Wild. So they haven't been as airtight, the Buffalo Sabres defensively, that we saw earlier during the great run that they've put together. Yeah, it has been a homer series. No question. Jonathan's right about that. The home team has won 9 straight. So Buffalo has won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight in Buffalo, and Carolina has won 4 straight at home. So it has been a homer series, no question. That being said, I'm interested in Buffalo at a price like this. I mean, we're talking about a 15-3 team getting plus 170. And I know Carolina's starting to heat up right now, and we know at home there's 17, 8-1. It's not easy to win there, but man, there's value on Buffalo with the way they've played at a price like this. I mean, they're pricing Carolina here like they're playing an also-ran, at this point in time. So I'm leaning Sabres, but I'm not close to betting it yet. We're going to wait to see closer to puck drop on Monday where things stand as far as the goaltending. I might just ride Buffalo over right now. 7 straight Buffalo Sabres games have gone over the total. And again, it speaks to the fact that the power play's on fire. The offense is humming right now. What's been impressive, too, is they've lost Josh Norris for the last couple of games, and they're still scoring goals in bunches, this Sabres team. So, yeah, maybe an over, maybe Buffalo. I'm leaning in that direction right now. But again, we'll lock things in a little bit closer to puck drop. But that's kind of where I'm leaning right now for the first game on Monday between the Sabres and the Hurricanes. If just a prop or two that I would maybe consider as well for this game, obviously we've talked about Josh Doan quite a bit. Jack Quinn could be on the verge of heating up. Ryan McLeod's been good lately. So there's a couple of options there on the Buffalo side. Carolina, I'm pretty much going to mention the same players we've mentioned, Stankoven, Jackson Blake. Nikolai Ehlers has started to heat up a little bit as well, but I'm talking about from a value standpoint. There's good value still with Blake, and Stankoven has been really solid lately. So those are a couple of props maybe to keep an eye on here for the Carolina Hurricanes in this game. And there you go. Last 3 games in Carolina have gone over 6.5, says Robert. Yeah, I mean, they've become a scoring machine too lately in Carolina. So yeah, over in Sabres is kind of where I'm leaning. But again, we got time. This game's Monday afternoon. We'll see what the lineups are, the goalies are, and we'll move from there. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much on this Sunday. Thanks for joining us. Check out wizardsportspicks.com. Get to the website. 3-0 NHL sweep on Saturday. I do not have any premium selections for NHL today at wizardsportspicks.com. And that's because all my bets in the NHL are small today. I don't love this card, so no premiums on the website, but it's been a great NHL season, 52-38 on the site. And again, number 1 ranked on the website in the NHL, as well as number 1 ranked on the website in NFL. It's been just a phenomenal NFL season. It sucks that it's winding down, but we still have a few more plays for the playoffs to hopefully finish strong. We have a divisional playoff best bet winner available, premium winner available on the site. So check it out. I did the Beyond the Lines video today. So check that out as well on the Wizard Sports Picks YouTube channel. Check out any of the premium picks from the handicappers and get on board a long-term subscription as well. 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, 1-year, all-access passes available for all sports from any one of the handicappers. So check it out at wizardsportspicks.com and check out patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 per month. Again, goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props, posted each and every day on the Patreon page. So make sure you get on board. We had some new Patreon signups yesterday. I saw it. We had like 5 or 6 coming on board yesterday. And boy, oh boy, I hope you got in before the Saturday game started, because we just crushed it with the Patreon card yesterday. Sides, totals, it's just been absolutely terrific. And again, you get access to sides, totals, player props every day on the website, on the Patreon page, from me, from Alex, from any of the guests, and we post it each and every day. So get on board. The bonus content. We have 2 Patreon exclusive live betcasts coming up as well before the end of January. We will announce the betcast the day of. We like to surprise the Patreon members and just announce the betcasts the day that they are happening. But they will be toward the very end of January, the 2 betcasts. So stay tuned for that. Looking forward to that for sure. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 per month. And again, what was one other thing? Oh, yeah. get on board. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show, keeping it going long term. $10 per month, patreon.com/Ice Guys. And, of course, the Ice Guys store. Check out the gear and the merch each and every day over at the Ice Guys store at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. And don't forget about our free-for-all Ice Guys Live Betcast. Open to everybody. This is not just for Patreon members. This one is for everybody. Ice Guys Live Betcast. It is this Tuesday, January 20. And there it is on the screen. Ice Guys NHL Live Bet. Not tonight. We got to get rid of that. Sorry, that's a typo. Tuesday, January the 20th, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. There we go. Tuesday, January 20th, 7 p.m. Eastern. 2 days from now. Ice Guys Live Betcast. We are very much looking forward to it. Like I said, this is our first live betcast. It will be of 2026. So again, DM or email me or Alex for a spot on the betcast, and we will send you the link for it just as we go on the air Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, January 20th. Looking forward to that first Ice Guys Live betcast of the new year. So again, very excited about how this one plays out. We've had some really good profitable nights. And even in the nights where it's been more of a grind with the live bets, just hanging out with the viewers and listeners and watching the games and talking hockey and having some fun. That's what it's all about. That's what the betcasts are all about. Yeah, we want to make money with live bets, but we want to give something back to the viewers and listeners of this show each and every day. And this is our way of doing it. A live betcast to just hang out, talk hockey, play some live bets, have a few drinks, and it's always a lot of fun. So if you've never experienced an Ice Guys NHL Live betcast before, start Tuesday night, and you'll see why it's so much fun and why we enjoy it so much. So Tuesday night, January 20th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us for the Ice Guys Live betcast. And again, DM or email to join for a spot on the betcast, and we will send you the link for it as it unfolds. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Kings and queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including Royal Cannabis. Check them out, royalcannabisshop.com. 20% off with promo code ICEGUYS. All right, bargain bin special of the night for this Sunday NHL slate. We only have 3 games to choose from here as far as this NHL card is concerned. I will give you 2. If you're going to talk shit about your goaltender, you'd better damn sure back it up and play well on the ice if you're Jake Sanderson. And to his credit, he has scored in back-to-back games. We're going to roll the dice, see if he can do it for a 3rd straight game. Jake Sanderson, Ottawa Senators, plus 600 for my first bargain bin special for this Sunday. And my second one from the St. Louis Edmonton game. Come on, you know who it is. Holloway. Celebrate, and we are celebrating that Dylan Holloway's back for the St. Louis Blues, back in the lineup, off the injured list, and in the lineup for the Blues tonight in Edmonton against his former team, the Edmonton Oilers. What better way to return to the lineup than getting on the board against your former team. Dylan Holloway, St. Louis, plus 330. Yes, he is back in that bargain bin special price range once again. So Dylan Holloway, St. Louis, plus 330. Jake Sanderson, Ottawa, plus 600 for my 2 bargain bin specials for this Sunday. All right, best bet. Give me St. Louis, plus 135. It's a little risky with Binnington in net. You never know what you're going to get from him. Hopefully it's good Binnington tonight. He did have that one performance recently, I remember, against Montreal where he shut them out. He can play well. This is still a guy that's capable of being very good. You hope tonight is one of those nights where he's very good. But this is more of a fade of Edmonton. Back-to-back. Off the win against Vancouver. They rallied around the Leon Draisaitl in his absence last night. Played a really good game against a bad Vancouver team. Now they're on a back-to-back. St. Louis is playing a little bit better, and Edmonton has just been bad on back-to-backs. 1-7 for the Edmonton Oilers on the second night of back-to-back games this year. So St. Louis plus 135 against Edmonton. That will be my best bet here for this Sunday NHL slate. Great stuff. Shout out to everyone. Appreciate you guys joining us here on this edition of the Ice Guys. Hit the like button. Appreciate it very much. Again, tomorrow is Martin Luther King Day. We already talked about Buffalo, Carolina on the Monday slate because that game starts at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We are on at the regular time, 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern, and we will take you through the rest of the Monday games. We've got 9 games after the game between Buffalo. There's 10 games tomorrow. Buffalo, Carolina being the first, and we'll talk about the remaining 9 games on the Monday slate, starting with Washington, Colorado on the show tomorrow. That game is at 4 p.m. Eastern. So again, 9 remaining games on the Monday slate. We will talk about those tomorrow on the Monday edition of the Ice Guys. And Perlo will be in the house as usual on a Monday. All right, that's it. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast if you can't watch the show live. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will see you again tomorrow on Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.